There are three main types of woundings that a woman can have that can cause a healthy masculine man who wants to take care of a woman to be much less attracted to you and much less inspired into taking care of you. And it's really important to be aware of what these three woundings are so that you can do something about it, so you can shift it and heal it, so that if you're single, you can attract a really healthy man and have a great relationship with him, or if you're in a relationship with a man, so you can inspire him into giving you the love and care that you need. And the first of these three wounds that we're going to be talking about over the next few videos is the independence wound. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But before we do, hello, my name is Zach Rohde. I'm here to lead you into creating the relationship of your dreams using feminine energy and what I call feminine communication to inspire a man into cherishing you. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, make sure you do that below. Hit the notification bell and be sure to like this video because I'm going to make sure it's a good one for you today. And if you'd like to learn how to shift out of your unhealthy control patterns that are repelling the kind of man that you need or repelling the kind of behavior, devotion that you need from a man, then go to my free webinar below this video, open up the description, you're going to see the links to all of my offers, and go to the link zachrohdecoaching.com to watch that free webinar. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to read. The reason I'm getting this topic today is it's in my book. I'm going through this entire book step by step. Inspire His Devotion. It is on Amazon by Zach Rohde. You just put in my name. And we're going to talk about the independence wound. All right, so the independence wound. This is the main wound that my wife had. I talk a lot about my marriage in this book. The wound was based on the belief that her worth comes from how capable she is, and she was very capable, and she still is. This meant that she would often have resistance to me doing things for her because she can do it herself. Okay? Have you ever thought that with a man trying to take care of you and you're like, no, I can do it myself? Some women can have this wound but have very low self-worth. They are hyper-independent because they have a deep belief that they are not worthy of being taken care of. But whether high self-worth or low self-worth, this wound causes women to lack trust in men as she believes that she is better off taking care of herself. This tends to attract men like me, or like the old me, not the new me, who are also hyper-independent and not interested being in the giving role. These men aren't necessarily takers, but they aren't givers either. Okay, so this independence wound, it's typically going to really stem from childhood where you weren't fully taken care of as a child. You didn't have that total trust in your parents to take care of you because they weren't fully competent at it, or they weren't fully devoted to taking care of you. Their own issues that they were dealing with in some kind of way. It might also be because your parents led you into being independent and didn't want you to be dependent on them. Now, to be clear, there's nothing wrong with being dependent on somebody else, right? Humans are all dependent on each other. And no man is an island, right? And no woman is an island either, especially no woman. We all rely on each other. Our entire economy depends on each other. Like, I can't build a computer. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to make a cell phone. I don't know how to do most things that I need in my life that other people are doing for me. And the same thing is true in a relationship, right? Like, my wife needs me in all kinds of ways to make her life easier, and for her, most importantly, for her to be in her feminine, to take away that burden from her so that she doesn't have to be in her masculine energy being all stressed out all the time. And many women have this issue, and it's kind of been hammered into them, this message that it's bad to be dependent on someone. Now, I'm not talking about codependence here. This is completely different than that. I'm talking about being able to be dependent on a man to take care of you. And a better term for this would actually be interdependent, right? So it means that you're capable of being taken care of, you're capable of being dependent on a man, but you're also bringing something that whole red pill thing, bringing something to the table, so to speak. But what are you bringing to the table? Well, you're bringing your femininity, you're bringing your radiance, you're bringing your vulnerability, you're bringing your respect, you're bringing your softness, you're bringing your submissiveness, and yes, you are bringing some things that you can do for a man to make his life easier. For example, cooking for him, cleaning for him, doing the majority of the child rearing, not all of it, but majority of it, especially if he's the sole provider, right? Like if you guys are both working full-time jobs, well, that's going to be a little bit different, but I'm talking about a dynamic where the man is more in that provider role, more in that leader role. So that's interdependence. It's like you're both depending on each other, but in different ways, instead of both taking care of yourself, right? Like relationships are all about, healthy relationships are all about being interdependent. And the more that you can depend on each other, the stronger that relationship is going to be. But you're going to depend on each other in very different ways in a polarized relationship, right? Like a man shouldn't really be depending on a woman for like a bunch of emotional support and to like share all of his problems and have his woman solve those problems, right? That's very depolarizing. But it's much more polarizing if a woman is bringing her problems to her man vulnerably, respectfully, not dumping them on him, and having that trust and receptivity to get the leadership and the advice and everything that she needs to be able to solve those problems. It's very polarizing. So there's nothing wrong with being dependent, and especially so for a woman. Of course, you're going to be bringing something to the table in a feminine way, because otherwise you're just going to be a total drain, right? Like if you're completely dysregulated, if you're in your masculine energy, if you're full of judgment, if you're nagging, and you're fully dependent on a man, well, he's not getting anything out of that relationship. Right? Like that's not going to be fun for him. That's just going to drain the life force out of him. But a woman, the main thing that you're bringing to the table, it's not cooking or cleaning or anything like that. It's your ability to be so receptive, so feminine, so vulnerable, so much in your radiance that he just becomes inspired to want to take care of you. Because you're just so beautiful energetically. You're so beautiful emotionally. You're not putting anything on him. He's just inspired to want to take care of you. So that's dependence in a healthy way. And our society, parents, peers, media, all of it is programming women that is bad. That healthy women are supposed to be independent and even hyper independent, be able to fully take care of yourself, not just capable of it, but are fully taking care of themselves. And by the way, I should also say there's nothing wrong with being able to take care of yourself. Right? Like I've got a 2.5-year-old daughter. I'm going to teach her how to be fully able to take care of herself if she needs to, right? Like if my wife and I died, I would want her, I mean, she's only going to be very limited to take care of herself when she's 2.5, but say we died when she's 18, I'd want her to be able to take care of herself if she needed to. But that pales in comparison to the much more important thing that I'm going to teach her and am teaching her just by the relationship that I have with her, where she knows how to inspire devotion from a man. So that even if she had a husband and that husband dies or something, it's okay. She'll be able to inspire another a man into her life really relatively quickly, because she's just so naturally attractive and inspiring because she's so much in her feminine energy. And this is the main skill set that very few women have. Many women today are very hyper capable of taking care of themselves. Not all women, but more than pretty much any time in history, I think. But the number of women that are capable of opening themselves up to inspire a man, and part of being able to inspire a man is being able to really depend on him, really open to him, to his leadership, to his guidance, to his advice, to his love, to his boundaries, to his expectations, to his planning, to everything. And also knowing how to ask for those things if he's not fully stepping up, knowing how to fully communicate your feelings if he's not stepping up in some way where you're feeling bad. It's all about opening yourself up and inspiring that. It's the most important thing, and that's what most women are lacking. And is it any wonder that most relationships are so dysfunctional and so many women are single today in their late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s? It's because women don't know how to do this. They weren't taught how to do this. That's not your fault. It's not your fault unless you continue to do it, even if you have the information to shift it, right? But you weren't taught that in childhood, typically. You weren't role modeled that by your parents. And so this is the situation that you're in. And this isn't to blame women, where it's like, hey, it's all women's fault. No, men have their part to play in this as well, right? Men don't know how to lead for the most part. Even if they know how to lead superficial aspects of the relationship, like planning dates and just general leadership of how things are going to go, very few men know how to lead a woman to heal her wounding, lead a woman back into her feminine energy, lead a woman into using respectful feminine communication with him so that she becomes as inspiring as possible. So if a man doesn't know how to lead a woman in that way, and a woman doesn't know how to be in that way, then what's going to happen? Well, she's going to go into her normal control patterns, and in this case, the independence patterns, right? Where you're resistant to a man's leadership. You're saying, I can do things myself. You're not asking permission for help. You're not opening yourself up to that for help in that vulnerable way. If you are trying to get help from a man, you're doing it typically in a much more masculine way, a much more guarded, shut down way, where he's not going to want to take care of you. You need to learn how to do this. And when you do, when you learn how to fully open yourself to a man, and you heal that independence wound, along with other wounds that you might have, guess what's going to happen? Well, if you're single, you're going to have tons of men that come out of the woodwork that are going to want to take care of you. Because it's not just the behavior shifts, it's the energy shifts. And men are going to feel that. They're going to feel that in your dating profile, when you're walking down the street, even when you're at your house alone to a certain extent. Men are going to feel an energetic difference, and they're going to be attracted to that. And then if you're in a relationship, same thing. It's like when you know how to be in that energy, it inspires the best in a man. It inspires him to start stepping up. And if he's got a wound, like I did, right? My wound with my wife, where she was quite hyper independent. My wound was, I don't want to take care of a woman. I had a wound around taking care of anyone else because I wanted to conserve all my energy to take care of myself. I was living in this energetic lack, and it's fear-based. I wasn't even aware that there was a fear that was operating unconsciously because I couldn't feel the fear, but it was there. And that's one of the type of men that those women are going to attract. Other types of men that you might attract is kind of children men, like men who aren't grown up, men who are looking for a mother. Right? What a perfect mother is someone who's fully capable of taking care of herself. Right? So those men you're going to attract, they're going to drive you absolutely nuts. And then you're going to attract more of the selfish men like I was, who are just really hyper independent. And they, it might be a man who's really fun and confident and stuff, as I was, but if his heart isn't online to devote you and take care of you in that kind of way, lead you in that way, take responsibility for leading you and taking care of you, and actually feel good about being responsible for you in that way, you're going to have a not so amazing life together, because that is your deep need. And get in touch with that need. What is that need? It's that need to be cherished, right? And there's a lot of dependency there. Like what the whole scope of being cherished, there's a lot of dependency. You can't be cherished as a hyper-masculine woman. You have to let that go. But of course, that means you're going to have to move through all the fears of letting that go. Why are you independent in the first place? Because you're afraid to not be. You're afraid of being dependent. You're afraid of fully opening your heart. You're afraid of getting hurt again, or getting hurt for the first time, but typically getting hurt again. You're afraid of things going wrong. You're afraid of him not being competent enough, so he's just going to let you down in some kind of way. You're afraid maybe that you're not worthy of being taken care of in that way. You're afraid that being taken care of in that way might make you weak or less than. All kinds of fears. And look, I've helped women through this hundreds of times in our academy program, where we help take women. This is just one wound. We have other wounds as well that we work with, but one of them is helping women shift out of that independence wound and into fully opening up and learning how to be interdependent by shifting their communication and energy. If you would like help learning how to do that, so you don't have to figure it out all by trial and error and do it the hard way and make tons of mistakes and spend years and years doing this, well, I would love to help you. The way that you can find out more about that support is to go below this video, open up the description. You're going to see the links to all of my offers, and there's an academy offer there. You click that, it's thedreamrelationship.com. You go to that page, there's a video about the academy to learn about how we can help you. There's a button below that video to book a call with me. You click that button, you book a call. We'll get on a call and we'll talk all about what's going on in your love life, where you're stuck, what your control patterns are, whether you're hyper independent or whether it's something else, and we'll talk about how to shift it. And then we'll find out if the academy is right for you, if we can actually help you shift this, if it makes sense to work with us. And you can ask me any questions that you have about working with us, and then you can make a decision. So I will see you for that call if that's you. That's it for this one.